sticks, or also known as Kali sticks, our knee sticks. We're gonna use sticks to defend ourselves, and you can train with a pair of sticks like this, or even just one stick. Learn how to defend yourself fighting with sticks, and then you can find sticks anywhere. We're also gonna talk about the expandable baton, which is almost exactly the same length as a traditional Kali or a Eskrima stick. I put links in the description below if you want to see what the dimensions are. So you're going to start with one. If you have two, you're going to start with two, one in each hand. You have one, just start with one. And as a warm-up, I want you to just swing them so that you can warm up your shoulders. All of these strikes are going to come off of the shoulder, or through the shoulder, through the elbow, through the wrist and the joints. Through all of this, we want to warm it up first. You're just going to do this basic swinging motion. That's going to get your heart rate up a little bit, pump the blood, get the synovial fluid into the joints, warming up so you stay safe from injury. Now when you fight, there's no time to warm up. You're just going to hit the guy for self-defense, smashing. But in practice, when you're learning how to do stick fighting for self-defense, when you do stick fighting training, you need a good proper warm-up to stay safe from injury. We're going to start to move fast, hit hard. Sometimes you'll hit maybe like a stack of tires, a pole, a tree, a punching bag, and then you want to keep those joints safe from injury so that you can hit harder and harder and move faster for self-defense. One of the great things about these sticks is it gives you reach advantage. You get somebody coming around attacking you with a bladed weapon, something like this, maybe a little longer, a little shorter, either thrusting or slashing. And you have one of these poles, which is usually one of these fighting sticks, about as long as your arm, your entire arm. You can hit him before he can hit you. So you have the advantage of reach. And we're gonna talk about how to defend against a blade here in a second. The second warm-up move before we get into the strikes is turning. Hello, Doug, it's good to see you. Doug says Canada approves of what's going on this morning. I myself am starting to feel unburdened by what has been. Just a little election day, post-election humor. But as you do this motion, keep your hand closed. And you're gonna rotate out. You rotate in and out. And all that's doing is warming your wrists up. It's going to build power in your grip so that when you strike for self-defense, you're going to be able to hold on to it better. After you do that spinning warm-up, go back to the swinging, and then you're going to spin down and spin up. We're not going to go into all of the traditional Filipino martial arts, FMA, that you might do, all the moves. Something called Sinawali, which is kind of a leading pattern. You can learn this. This will help break up the monotony of training with your strikes. But really for a warm-up, all you need is this spinning motion and swinging and spinning to build power in all of your basic strikes for self-defense. You can do it going down and up. You can do it going forward. I'll slow it down a lot. See, all I'm doing is turning out, turning in. You can then alternate that, doing one hand at a time. Come forward, missed a comment, go put it up again. And then, if you want, you can do it at the same time. And that's just to look fancy. That's not, you don't use that in a fight. When you start doing stick fighting training, not everything has to be a self-defense move. Think about a boxer who skips rope or hits the speed bag or hits the punching bag. The boxer doesn't take any of those tools with him into the boxing ring. In the same way, you're not going to necessarily fight with this motion, but that's kind of like cross-training like a boxer. It's going to get your heart rate up. It's going to build timing and distance, speed and power. It's going to increase the speed of your strikes. Sometimes you can add a spin and then make your strike a lot faster. So you will use it, but we're gonna start with these. MRG asks about these sticks particularly. There is a link in the description to a martial arts store that has a lot of different kinds of Eskrima sticks. These sticks specifically are not made anymore. So I think you can get a version of them. The company that makes these are Combativ, KOMBATIV.com. And they have a lot of gnarly knives over there too. They make a lot of like expandable batons. They have a lot of, not expandable batons, but like a lot of fancy tools like this. This always reminded me of kind of like the Daredevil. But that's the basic warm up I want you to do. I'm gonna put these down and show you how we're gonna use them for self-defense, because that's really what we're talking about. We're not talking about traditional, learning a traditional martial art. We're talking about practicing hitting someone, stick fighting for self-defense, stick fight training. So from here, starting in either hand, doesn't matter, because you're gonna do both hands with the same number of strikes. I'm gonna start here in my right, you can do right or left. If it's in your right, put your right foot forward. If it's in your left, put your left foot forward. You're gonna make yourself a smaller target. You're always gonna fight from behind these sticks. So the stick is between you and the threat. Remember that. Never having any wide strikes. These wide strikes are not gonna work because he'll close the distance and you'll wrap your arm around him. You'll barely hit him at all if you do hit him. But if you're coming from the shoulder and you're fighting and you're keeping that stick between you and him, he has to get through your stick. So you're gonna hit him, and you're gonna go into him. Kali, Eskrima, Arnis are all, three different names. Sakal, you can find it under Sakal, S-A-K-A-L, Salat, S-I-L-A-T. All from the Filipino martial arts, the diaspora of the Majapahit Kingdom, which was more, so Indonesia, all over Asia, you'll find about this length of a stick, sticks and knives, and they do, when the knife comes out of your hand, the stick comes out of your hand, they also do a lot of hand-to-hand. A lot of Filipino martial arts also use a lot of Jeet Kune Do. You'll see a lot of Bruce Lee style in there. So the first thing you have to see here is you're gonna choke up a little bit. And that's so that you have this ability to catch, strip. You can strip his weapon out of his hand. You can catch and trap his hand. You can also strike with it. Christina asks, wood or metal, which is better? It's personal preference. I like wood to start, especially rattan, which isn't technically wood, it's grass. And rattan are what you'll find the most. If you check the link below in the description, in that store, I think most of them are rattan. There are some that are hardwoods, but go light, because you want to get your techniques really fast and clean, and then you want to learn how to hit, and rattan's not going to break. So you want to be able to train with a stick and then use any stick. So this is the whole point of stick fighting training, is not necessarily to carry. If I carry these walking down the street in an urban area, I look like a threat, right? You might be able to stash them in a backpack like you're one of the Ninja Turtles or Daredevil or whatever. Or you might be in a situation where something happens, you need to defend yourself and your family, and there's sticks in your environment, and you have to think outside the box, not a wood stick that fell off of a tree, although that might be what it is. It might be you're at the gas station and there's that stick that you use to clean the windshield off with the squeegee on one side and the sponge on the other side. It might be that you're in a restaurant and there's, in the kitchen, there are spatulas and tongs and big spoons that are all longer, maybe not this long, but almost as long, made out of metal or made out of wood that you can use to defend yourself. You might break off the leg of a wooden chair or a table. You might be at the beach. You might have an umbrella with you that's about this long, or a little longer or a little shorter. If it's one of those expandable ones, you can extend it. And then you have some striking. And it's gonna break, but it's better than nothing, especially if he pulls out a weapon, a knife. But there's sticks everywhere. And let's do this. Let's put in the comment section, not just the chat, but in the comment section, put in the sticks that you can think of in your daily environment. Where I work, I work on a campus lots of different buildings. Every building I go into, every room I look around and I find at least 2 or 3 sticks that I would pick up. And if I had to defend myself with a stick, I also carry openly because of my job. I'm security, so I carry. I also have a blade on me all the time. I also have a couple other tools that we won't go into, but then I know how to fight with sticks. I know how to fight with any length of sticks, and I want you to learn how to fight too. All right, so from here, you choke up a little bit. That gives you more striking surface. The first thing that I want you to practice is this coming off your shoulder. Think of striking temple to his jaw, or the clavicle through his ribs, or maybe his ribs through the outside of his hip, but coming through at that basic angle. And you can strike his temple, you strike his jaw, his hand is holding that knife, or he's punching, he's choking. You can break his bones in his hand, you can smash that hand, you can break his elbow, you can smash his ribs, you can go down to his knees. Maybe it's a vicious animal attacking your dog, and you can strike down into his face, into his nose or whatever. So you have all these off of this basic first angle. First angle is off the same shoulder, second angle is off the other shoulder. So those are the first 2 angles in which you practice, you put them together, and you're making this V. And then you just practice over and over for a good 30 seconds or more, and each time going faster and hitting harder so that when you need it, you've already done it. You've already hit hard and fast. And then later, once you find a surface to strike, then that adds another dimension. Because then you're going to get the rebound effect where it bounces in your hand, and you're going to learn how to control that. So coming off that shoulder, striking down. The next set are coming up at an angle. Think rib to clavicle, or jaw to temple. Coming up this way, and your palm is facing the sky, so that when you run into his body for self-defense, it goes through your hand and doesn't come out. Good morning, G. Carlton. If your hand's facing the wrong way, your palm's down, it's gonna strip it, popping your fingers right off, just like that. So from here, you're coming straight up this way, and then the opposite hip coming off. Then you're gonna put those 4 together. So down, 2, up, 2. Angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, 4, coming down and coming up. Always keeping the stick between you and your opponent. Then on the other side, coming down, coming up, because we want to do both sides evenly, and like before, starting to increase the speed and the power in each strike, and making sure that you're keeping them tight. You're coming back to your shoulders, and you're coming off your hips, and then the next 2 coming straight across. Temple, jaw, body, hand, ribs, stomach, knees, but a horizontal strike, and then back, coming the other way. Palm up, palm down. Across the body, and back, put those together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we're gonna add 7, coming straight down, cracking him on top of his head for self-defense. With your stick fighting training. So a vertical strike. You can also do a vertical strike coming straight up. Just don't hit yourself in the face. So we have 2 down, 2 up, 2 horizontal, vertical down, vertical up. Or instead of vertical up, I like to add a jabbing motion coming up into his throat, into his jaw, into his nose, into his solar plexus, coming up this way. By the way, I know that you ask me this from time to time. If you wanted to train with a tool like this, you can practice those same basic angles with one of these. So I'm not going to do a video specifically on this, but if you also carry one of these, you can basically, you can do the same thing with this one. Now you can see there are other angles that you can do with one of these that you might not do with these, but you can. It's all basic strikes. And if you want to go back and slow that down a little bit, I'm trying to beat the algorithm and not get demonetized. based on techniques with that tool. So think down, two, up, two, across, back, down, and then up. And this slap that you'll see a lot of Filipino martial arts guys do, it's two things. It helps them when you start doing trapping. It also, if you're fighting with one of these, will help you get the knife back out. Just FYI, just for your information. All right, now after those basic strikes and you practice those, I want you to think about this, holding with two hands that you're doing a push-up and smashing, especially this hard piece of metal. This is aircraft aluminum, yours can be metal, wood, it doesn't matter, because you're going against soft tissue. You're going against his nose, his teeth, you're moving him back. Once you move him back, you can box the ears, because by grabbing it here, you've closed that loop and you have more leverage. So you can strike here. I want you to also think Irish shillelagh style, twisting, striking fast. It's a fast, explosive strike coming off of both sides. You can see once you start to add the turn of your shoulders, you're gonna get more distance. You're gonna hit him farther away, or you're gonna go through him more. And it's gonna increase the power and the speed of that strike. I'm seeing how close I can get to the camera before I break my phone. Renee asked whether he could grab a stick. Don't let him grab the stick, Renee. But if he does, get your other hand on it right away and twist. And then push. If he's pulling on your stick, he's pulling it back this way, you let him have it, literally, by moving forward toward him. And then wherever you have your hands, if his hand's in the middle and you can grab on the other side, twist like that. Then either push down, and when you do this, use your whole body so that you're engaging the big core muscles against his arm muscles and his shoulder muscles. You want your big muscles against his little muscles. So you're pushing down. You can also push up by turning your hips, and maybe, just maybe, you'll smash him on the bottom of his jaw. His tongue will be there, bite his tongue off, or smash his teeth, break his teeth out of his face for self-defense. And then push, coming through his throat or throwing through his face. Once I reopen the school, after I get my other hip replaced, I'll have a partner and I'll show you what that looks like when someone grabs it. I'll have him grab it, I'll grab his, and I'll show you that, even if I'm bigger than he is, I'm assuming that I'll be bigger, but maybe he'll be bigger, I don't know. Depending on who we get to do that. You can still apply these basic principles of twisting or turning and pushing. Turning, lifting, coming up this way. And it's simply because you're not fighting him where he's fighting. If he's pulling and you're trying to pull back and he's stronger than you, you're gonna lose. You're getting a tug of war, your body's shaking. If he's pulling back and you're giving it to him and you turning at the same time, now all of a sudden his energy's coming this way. He's not resisting that. And you have to move fast because he will resist as soon as he feels it. Then you can drop it, raking down his face, and then jab him with two hands up under his chin, or push and smash his teeth. From this position, holding two hands, pushing, boxing, twisting, that hand smacking really hard. Also holding this in with a little bit here on the bottom. We have these basic strikes that we went over. Also jab straight in. Think of a reverse jab. He's behind you, smash here. You can smash and push. Hit his groin, smash his knee. Hit him in the jaw, smash the side of his head with the length. This is a silent walk asks if this aluminum, this one is aluminum. Here's its partner. So you can hear. I think they're hollow, but then they have caps on the end. It's aircraft grade is what I was told. But again, this comes from combative, KOMBATIV.com. If you want a link, what I would suggest you do at the beginning, when I first got these, they cut me up a lot because they weren't properly they were really sharp. So I've dulled these just by using them with my rough skin over time. But I would recommend Rattan, Rattan, I think. And there's a link in the description to Rattan. Also, the next one that I want to show you, which is one of my favorites, just because you see them everywhere these days. We might see them in the next few days pop out with some bad characters using them. Law enforcement, most law enforcement guys I know, they won't pull these out anymore if they do carry them. I was taught the guys I work with every day, none of them carry them at all. But this is the expandable baton, and it's the exact same length, or close to it. Yeah, I think it's the same length as the Kali or a screaming stick. And Kali and screaming sticks can come in different lengths, like 26, 28, 24 if you're a kid. They have teen, which are thinner, and then they have the larger if you're an adult. It really doesn't matter which stick you start with. But the expandable baton is the same length as the screaming stick. And you can carry it concealed. And so Christina asked, why don't the police use them? Some police still do, but a lot of them don't use them because of all of the cameras, all the defund the police, all of the animosity that has been just heaped onto our law enforcement. They don't want to lose their home. Some of them, I've talked to some people in certain departments, I won't mention which ones they are, locally, who say, we don't get out of the car anymore unless someone actively calls us. We don't patrol like we used to have a presence, because we don't want to be the next news story, because we're doing our jobs and then it's misinterpreted or it's taken advantage of by the media to make us look like the bad guys. And so they won't use these, because to use them effectively, it's a lot of this against somebody who's resisting arrest. So they use either a taser or they use their firearm. And so a lot more people are getting hurt just because of the way we've treated law enforcement, we being the society. Yeah, Renee says maybe that'll change soon. And I agree. Let's hope so. Let's hope that we can, because I talk to these guys every day and they are facing, like the department I work with, they are undermanned. Every department that I talk to around here, and this is an area, I'm in Florida where there's a lot of support for law enforcement. And it's not just the defund movements that has pulled so many people out. It's this whole demographic shift where a lot of people are retiring, kids aren't coming into the profession, and it doesn't pay enough. The rent here for like one bedroom is $2,500. A starting cop can make 60 grand. That's not enough money to pay for it. And you can't live. And how can you be a grown man or a grown woman protecting and serving, putting your life on the line, and you can't afford to live? That's ridiculous. But anyway, so it's a lot of different factors. And the bottom line is you need to be your own first responder, being able to defend yourself with sticks. That's why we do stick fighting training for self-defense. So with this stick, and I'm gonna go over it simply, it's the same moves as the Kali stick. That's why I said you can, or the screaming stick. You can learn to fight with any stick, pick up a stick. You can carry in certain places, and you have to check the laws in your area, whether you can carry this. Some places you need a concealed carry permit. I have one of those. I'm also in an open or a permitless state where you don't need one. But to carry one of these, you can stuff this in a bag, you can put it on your shirt, you put it in a pocket when it's closed. To close them, you have to hit them on a hard surface to break the friction. There are two kinds. This is the friction kind. The other kind is like spring-loaded. You hit a button and it pops out, hit a button, it pops back in. I've only ever used spring-loaded. I don't know how, or friction style. I don't know how the other ones work. I mean, I know how they work in principle. I don't know if they're as good as I like this one. But you have this. Christina asked, is it not legal to carry? It's not legal to carry in certain places. I'm pretty sure you can't carry this in Canada at all. But you can't carry this in Canada. If you can open it with one hand, it's now illegal. Christina says she's in security. She doesn't have a firearm, so you have to get creative. Yeah, in order to defend yourself. Because some security are there just to pay attention and then call law enforcement in. But that doesn't mean that when you call law enforcement, the guy's not going to close the distance and start to hurt you while you're waiting for the police to respond 3 to 4 minutes later. And yeah, they get there, but by then it might be too late. So this is something you can use, or like I said, you can find other sticks in your environment that are the same length if they won't allow you to carry this. So from here, coming off the shoulder, same exact angles as we trained with the other one. You cannot do this because if you hit it with force, it's gonna collapse and then you're gonna have a short stick again. But you can. It can be closed and then jam them with the closed one and then pop it back open. You can also hold it and smash them back, but same thing, as soon as force hits this, the vibration's enough, it's gonna start to collapse. So as long as you know that, it might collapse on you, but you can do all the boxing, you can do the rolling of your hand. If you hit them with this side, that's where all the weight is. That's gonna hit a lot harder than that side does. But it's basically these techniques. Now there are come-along techniques. Come-along techniques are when you maybe twist his arm behind his back, or you come up and you apply pressure and twist. But that's not what we're going over. We're not law enforcement trying to apprehend. We're just doing stick fighting training to defend ourselves against a thug or a punk or an aggressive person who is out of their mind, who's trying to take your life, your dignity, your freedom. And we know that God gives us right to self-defense. So we're defending ourselves. Stick fighting training for self-defense. That's why we do that. But to use this, it's very simple. And to get good at using it, practice those basic angles. And as long as you remember the general rule that you're gonna fight from behind your stick, and that all angles, this angle might be to the head, but it might also be to the body, and it can also go down to the knee. So when you do practice these angles super tight, coming from your shoulder, off your body, never from out here. If you swing out here and he closes the gap, your arm wraps around him and you never hit him. If you come here and he closes that distance, he runs right into your stick and you're gonna hit him every time. So always fight behind your stick, practicing these angles. Once you practice one side, practice the other side. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Start slow and then gradually increase speed, faster and faster and faster. If you're on the ground with your stick, Christina asked what if you find yourself on the ground with the stick. If this is one of the, if he's coming in to run up and kick you in the face or stomp on your head, you can use this to block that motion. You can also, from your back, strike. Now you're not gonna have as much strength. This is something that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu teaches, is like the 10 points of contact. I forget exactly how they say it. But the idea that if you're standing on your feet and you can throw a punch or swing a stick, you have the maximum amount of force that you can generate. So their goal in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is to close the distance, wrap you up, take you to the ground, and get you down to the point. You've seen it where they're sitting on top of somebody and all they have is their wrist left. So they went from 10 to 1, this one little joint. And you can't hurt somebody, even if you got your hand closed, you can annoy them, but you gotta knock somebody out. Standing, anybody, I can teach you how to knock somebody out. I don't care how big or how small, how young or how old you are. I can teach almost anybody how to knock somebody out if they're standing on their feet and their timing and distance is right. And you have to train a little bit. But if you're on your back. Now, it's not likely you're gonna be fighting a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt or even a blue belt or a purple belt. It's more likely you're gonna be fighting a crazed addict or a road rage or enraged by what's happening in the world right now, a crazy person or a violent person who is getting paid to burn things to the ground because the people paying them. Yeah, Silent Walk said some idiot on the bus got arrested because they had their knife open. And now everybody feels threatened. There's the famous news story in New York right now where the young Marine, former Marine, defended himself and the others from a guy who threatened to kill everybody, who was an addict, and he put him in a chokehold. Police got there, he still had a pulse. He still had a pulse for a long time, he was still breathing. And because he didn't break his neck, he didn't crash his throat. And it's another one of those things where the guy doing the right thing is getting punished because in that area, they want to punish the good guys and let the bad guys, give the victims all the rights or the criminals all the rights. Anyway, the question was, what do you do if you're on the ground? You can also smash his feet. There are a lot of nerves in the shins. Go for the shins. If you can hit him in the groin, go for the groin. If he's coming down to jump on top of you, go for his face while you're on the back. If you can stay on, on your back, stay on your back, and then you turn to the side. I've got a few videos on here where I show you how to get up from the ground. That'll be one that we work on in the near future. I'll show you if you get knocked down, how to get off the ground and keep fighting. So those are basic things. If you need your own, and you're allowed to have one of these, check the link in the description below. You can buy one of these online. They're like 30, 40 bucks. You can get a good pair of Kali sticks or Eskrima sticks. They're in there too. Start with rattan, start with lightweight wood. Learn how to fight with sticks. Stick fighting training for self-defense is simple because you can find sticks wherever you are. You might not have the sticks that you bought from the website with you or that you use in your martial arts class with you, but you'll take the skill of stick fighting with you wherever you go because it's in here and it's in your hands, whether you have this with you or not. And then I promise you, please, if you can help me out, because this will help everybody, put in the comment section, what sticks do you find daily in your environment? So when you go through today, take notes, come back to this video, what sticks did you see? And I'll try to do that too. Maybe that's what we'll do next week. I'll walk around and I'll show all the sticks that I can find. Christina asked, how often do I do classes? Right now, I'm on the injured reserve list. So that means I'm just doing classes in the garage for you online. I try to do 2 or 3 a week. And then once we get the school back open after I get my other hip replacement done, which looks like it's going to be toward the end of the year, then we'll open the studio back up, and then I usually have classes 6 days a week, and I try to be online 6 days a week. Yeah, Donut Lords wants bow staff fighting a video. If I can find somebody who knows how to fight with a bow staff, I'd love to do that. I was thinking about that. That's funny you said that. I was thinking about that this week, that I miss fighting. I miss hitting things because I don't have any bags anymore. I opened it too hard. And I miss, they're all in storage. And I miss sparring with people. I like fighting with the sticks, and I like fighting with the bow staff and all the different staffs. And I like sword fighting. I think sword fighting keeps you sharp here. So we'll do that. We'll try to make some videos of that coming up soon. And I'll show you how to fight with staffs. And not just tapping staffs together, because that's funny. And that's a good practice, tapping them together, but you have to be able to defend yourself with it. So we'll do some of that. And then we'll talk about one weapon against another weapon. Anyway, you guys have been awesome. Again, if you need one of these, thank you so much, Christina, for being here. Thanks for everybody for being here. If you need one of these or a pair of Eskrima sticks, please check the description below, and then in the comment section, leave us some notes, and then comment on each other's notes. What are the sticks that you find in your environment, and how do you use them? Good morning, Garen. It's good to see you, and I'll see you guys in a little bit.